Isn't it true, ma'am, that because your assessment was lacking in that aspect, that she, the defendant, could have been less than truthful with you in those 44 hours that you spoke with her?
I didn't rule out secondary gain. I looked at it in the context of all the other information. I was limited to looking at domestic violence, and I was to assess whether I believed there was domestic violence. And Mr. Martinez, I assessed that there was.
I am asking you whether or not you believed her in this evaluation. That's all I'm asking you.
Yes, I believe her.
I'm interested in the mouth moving and you talking to somebody else and their mouth moving. Do we understand that that's what I'm asking?
I understand.
And with regard to that particular issue, there was only one person that you talked to, and that was the defendant, right?
Correct.
You didn't speak to Mr. Alexander, right?
Objection has to be answered.
Sustained.
And in your assessment of these things, there are always two sides to every issue, aren't there?
In domestic violence.
In anything.
In domestic violence, the saying goes that, as opposed to the truth being somewhere in the middle, that the truth is worse than either story because both people are minimizing and denying the story.
And you didn't speak to Mr. Alexander or anybody else about whether or not she was minimizing or changing the story or anything, right?
Or whether he was.
Exactly. Whether anybody was, correct?
I read his words, as many as I had.
Ma'am, I'm talking about talking to people.
Of course, I did not talk to other people, Mr. Martinez. I did not.
She's never been honest with us since then. And she was probably 14 then.
Did you hear him say, she hasn't been honest with us since then, and she was 14? Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Isn't that go contrary? Doesn't that fly in the face of what you just testified to yesterday, that she was always honest before the killing?
Asked and answered.
When you get information from a parent that a child lies to them during teenage years, that does not necessarily characterize someone as a liar or not.
What you're saying is that you would consider it and then you would explain this statement.
I would consider it, and then I would decide what I was going to do with it once it was considered.
Right. And it would be part of the file then, right? That's something you would consider then, right?
Yes, it would.